Fast, focused, and fearless. Here's everything you need to know this rush hour of March 6, Friday. I am Royce Nagit. Jump-starting today's rush with two people that contracted COVID-19 in Taiwan and Australia after supposedly traveling to the Philippines. Taiwan Center for Disease Control says the case involves a 30-year-old male who experienced diarrhea during his stay in the Philippines earlier this week. The patient then returned to Taiwan and went to a hospital after suffering from dry throat and tiredness. A 60-year-old woman from Australia who's believed to have traveled to the Philippines tested positive for COVID-19. The health department says they are still verifying reports and coordinating with their counterparts regarding the issue. However, here in the Philippines, no new confirmed cases of COVID-19 infections have been reported recently. The number of admitted persons under investigation is at 37, while confirmed COVID-19 cases is still at 3 with 1 fatality. Over 600 individuals, on the other hand, have already been discharged. Confirmed cases worldwide are now more than 97,000, 80,000 of which coming from mainland China. Casualties from the virus have reached more than 3,000, while over 50,000 have recovered from the disease. South Korea, Italy, and Iran are still the countries that have the most cases of COVID-19 outside China. U.S. Vice President Mike Pence tells Americans to refrain from buying medical masks unless they are ill. Pence explains that this is the help they need from healthy U.S. citizens as their government ramps up efforts to produce more face masks amid the virus outbreak. The U.S. official also pledged that federal officials will, quote, lean into the fight against COVID-19.
But I do have a word to the average American about how you can help as well. Unless you are ill, you have no need to buy a mask. And one of the ways that healthy Americans can support our efforts to be there for patients and to be there for healthcare providers is to not purchase masks on the commercial market.
However, the World Health Organization reminds everyone that the ongoing virus outbreak is a very serious matter, one that requires a more coordinated response from all world governments. In a briefing, the WHO called on every country to act immediately and to scale up efforts to combat the virus.
We're concerned that some countries have either not taken this seriously enough or have decided there is nothing they can do. We're concerned that in some countries, the level of political commitment and the actions that demonstrate that commitment do not match the level of the threat we all face. This is not a drill. This is not the time to give up. This is not a time for excuses. This is a time for pulling out all the stops.
The probe into the alleged nefarious activities linked to the offshore gaming industry deepens. Senators are now saying POGOs are possibly being used as a channel for the entry of dirty money into the country. Mayan Los Baños has the report.
32 billion pesos. That's the amount of money which suspiciously entered the country since September last year, according to Senator Richard Gordon, chairman of the Blue Ribbon Committee. He said the money can be used for illegal practices such as espionage and bribery. The Customs Bureau said it has arrested those who brought in huge sums of money into the country, but admitted to being powerless in stopping the practice.
We do not have any authority to arrest them or seize the currency that they are bringing in, sir. They are not the subject of further investigation, sir. For us to be able to look for other violations that they may have committed.
Officers of the Anti-Money Laundering Council were likewise grilled. They said they follow the BOC's system, which takes about a month in handing out reports.
This data, at least of 336 million, at least that's what your record shows. Did you advise the other concerned authorities on this? For example, did you give this list to the Philippine National Police?
In August, we shared this information to the Bureau of Customs, Mr. Chair. And a week after that, we likewise shared this information to the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas.
AMLAC added they cannot immediately declare that the money is laundered since it was all declared from legal sources like businesses.
Good faith is always presumed. So whenever they declare this, and the declaration says the sources of funds is business, forex.
But Gordon refused to accept the council's explanation.
It doesn't matter. You're trying to prevent a very, very bad problem to come in, and under the principle of the police power to protect the welfare of the state, you can argue so many things just to forfeit, just to interdict. Pigilin mo.
For the next hearing, the committee will subpoena a so-called Rodriguez group, said to be a dummy of some Chinese nationals to carry large amounts of cash. Residents of a Parañaque subdivision also attended the hearing. Gordon said some POGOs reside in their village. They said that they're facing power outages as the maximum load limit in the subdivision has been reached due to the influx of Chinese nationals.
Kasi in a house na dapat single family lang ang nakatira, you would have sometimes at minimum 40 Chinese nationals. And then yung iba nga, 200, 100 plus in one single house.
They also complained of other things, from traffic, pollution, to reports that a firing range is being constructed inside their subdivision. Both PAGCOR and the AMLAC admitted to having difficulties monitoring POGOs. According to the game regulator, they've only licensed 61 POGO operators and 240 service providers. But 100 more are unlicensed and some are operating inside subdivisions. AMLAC, based on their inspection, said some POGO sites have wrong address details.
We are really trying to cure the negative effects. But eventually, if we're really not able to cure those negative effects, and it still outweighs the positive effects.
In AMLAC's assessment, 54 billion pesos worth of transactions flowed within the banking system due to POGOs. But net inflow only amounts to 7 billion pesos. They also found out that 14 billion out of the 54 billion peso transactions was involved in suspicious activities like drug trafficking. Based on PNP's data, since 2017, there have been 73 casino-related kidnapping incidents whose victims are Chinese nationals. There were 7 homicide cases in 2019 related to POGOs. Reporting for News 5, Mean Los Baños, We Are One News.
Malacanang believes President Duterte shouldn't be rushed in his decision whether or not to suspend POGO activities in the country. Despite several issues now hounding the offshore gaming industry, presidential spokesperson Salvador Panelo says sufficient evidence is needed before the president can come up with a decision. Palace also noted POGO's contribution to state revenue.
Let's not hurry up this president. This president is a very... what kind of judicious one? You know, he's a lawyer. Pag lawyer kasi, hindi basta gumagalaw eh. Kailangan pakitaan mo ako ng malaking, kaya na sinabi ko kung talamak yan at nakikita niya, may gagawin yan.
Here are the biggest stories from the dailies. Filipino Star ngayon reports that around 500 Filipino crew members are stranded in yet another cruise ship, this time in California because of COVID-19. Around 11 passengers and 10 crew members are suspected of being infected by the SARS-like virus. They are still awaiting results of their tests. From Business World, February inflation slows down in February due to lower fuel and alcohol prices. PSA data showed February inflation at 2.6%. That's lower than January's annual rate of 2.9% and 3.8% in February last year. And the Philippine Star reports House Speaker Alan Peter Cayetano vows to step down from his post in October after the 2021 budget is passed by the House of Representatives. He says he will honor the term sharing agreement with Marinduque Representative Lord Alan Velasco, and there is no need for President Duterte to intervene in the infighting. PNP Chief Archie Gamboa survives the helicopter crash in Laguna on Thursday, but 2 other police generals remain in critical condition. Romel Lopez with the details.
Police Chief Archie Gamboa is all smiles even after sustaining bruises over his face. Gamboa and 7 others, including 3 generals, figured in an accident Thursday morning. Their helicopter crashed in San Pedro, Laguna shortly after takeoff. PNP acting spokesman Benigno Durana Jr. says Gamboa and 4 others are in stable condition. This includes PNP spokesman Bernard Banak, 2 pilots, and 1 crew member. They are now recuperating at St. Luke's Medical Center in Taguig City.
Nakakapagsalita naman sila, may mga abrasion, may mga sugat, wala namang bali sa kanilang mga buto.
However, Police Major General Jose Maria Ramos and Mariel Maguay are still in critical condition. They are both admitted at the Asian Hospital in Muntinlupa City.
Dumating ang mga pasyente natin ay walang malay. So lahat po silang dalawa po actually ay comatose.
Maguay had a stroke. Ramos meanwhile is in need of a surgery.
Meron siya tama sa ulo pero mas ang injury niya ay yung mga buto niya sa mukha. Na kung tawagin namin ay Leport fracture.
Senator Bato de la Rosa visited the 2 officers who happened to be his mistas in the Philippine Military Academy.
Parang dito sa side nila atang impact ng chopper. Yung pan-impact doon sa kalsada, yung side nila, doon ng impact. So, silang napuruhan.
Palace spokesman Salvador Panelo says President Rodrigo Duterte will most likely visit the crash victims soon. For News 5, Romel Lopez. We are One News.
ABS-CBN is facing yet another hurdle with its franchise still in limbo. This time it's because of lawyer Larry Gadon petitioning against granting the network a temporary permit after its franchise expires. Jen Kalimon with the details.
Someone stopping the possible issuance of a provisional authority to network giant ABS-CBN. Attorney Larry Gadon filed his petition for prohibition before the Supreme Court, asking House Speaker Alan Peter Cayetano and Congressman Franz Alvarez to cease and desist from ordering the National Telecommunications Commission or NTC to issue the provisional authority. The 2 lawmakers enjoined the NTC to allow the network to operate past its franchise expiry on May 4, while franchise talks are pending in Congress. Gadon's petition maintains that the NTC has no jurisdiction or authority to issue such a permit to broadcast network whose franchise is set to expire. The NTC's mandate, said Gadon, is limited to regulation and supervision.
Kung mag-expire ang franchise, expired na yun, wala na. Wala ka nang pwedeng i-extend. So, dapat lamang na mag-apply sila ng panibago or no.
He likewise questioned Cayetano and Alvarez's authority. The lawyer alleged that the 2 congressmen infringed the separation of the 3 branches of the government, as the legislative has no control over the NTC, which is under the executive branch. The Congress, he said, must first hold a committee hearing and reach a majority decision. Gadon, however, clarified that he is not against the renewal of ABS-CBN's franchise.
I am not against the granting of franchise to ABS-CBN if that is the will of the Congress. Because the will of the people are expressed through the actions of the Congress, no?
Gadon and his lawyer Albi Tangcol also asked the Supreme Court to issue a temporary restraining order for the NTC to not abide with Cayetano and Alvarez's order. Meanwhile, the Makabayan bloc of the lower house was not surprised with Gadon's move.
Iniiwasan kasi ito noon kaya ito yung magyayari, magbubunga ito ng question ng constitutionality.
House Committee on Ways and Means Chairman Joey Salceda, meanwhile, believes the network's franchise will be renewed.
Given all the signals and the noise coming from all the major players in the Senate for one, the Palace, and of course the House, now I think the stars have aligned.
The committee hearing on ABS-CBN's franchise is scheduled on March 10. Reporting for News 5, Jen Calimor, We Are One News.
President Duterte led the inspection of the C3R10 section of the NLEX Harbor Link on Thursday. This is the new 2.6-kilometer elevated expressway from Caloocan Interchange and C3 Road, Caloocan City, leading to Radial Road 10 in Navotas City. DPWH Secretary Mark Villar and Transportation Chief Art Tugade were present in the event. NLEX said that C3R10 section, which is a flagship project under the Build, Build, Build program, is already 90% complete.
The Metro Pacific Tollways Corporation always aims to deliver high-quality infrastructure projects that will provide the ultimate mobility experience and serve as a long-term solution to the worsening traffic congestion in Metro Manila.
I acknowledge the combined efforts of the Department of Public Works and Highways, the Department of Transportation, and NLEX Corporation for the timely and efficient completion of the project. We need to work together to ensure that the strides we have made and the benefits of all our development efforts be felt by all Filipinos. No one should be left behind or forgotten.
Before leaving the venue, Duterte was spotted shaking hands with Metro Pacific Chairman Manny V. Pangilinan, who leads NLEX toll operator Metro Pacific Tollways Corporation. A video even captured the two sharing a short conversation. Senator Bongo said Duterte wants to set a meeting with MVP soon. Let's fast break to Sports Rush. The Philippine Army kicked off their 123rd founding anniversary with a friendly football match with the Philippine Azkals on Thursday. According to the Philippine Army, sports and military service have a lot more in common, both requiring discipline and hard work. Despite the Azkals dominating the game with 6-0 win versus the Army, team manager Dan Palami thinks the national players learned a lot to prepare them for the upcoming international competitions. The Azkals team manager says experience in the field is most welcome, especially for the younger members of the group.
That was one of the disadvantages that we had kasi yung maturity as a player. When you play against your age group, medyo you could be the big fish in that small pond. But we want these players to have their development accelerated, and I think the only way to do that is for them to really play in a professional level. The process is ongoing, and throughout the season, speaking as a national team, we don't want to miss anybody who's good enough to play for the Azkals.
And that's how the day is shaping up to be. Join us again next time for another round of Rush. For Riza Diaz, I am Royce Nagit. We are One News.